back, you guys, and I apologize in advance for this video because this is going to be strictly out of my head, so there's going to be a lot of editing involved probably, so yeah, just be aware of that going into this. Okay, so my channel has been getting quite a bit of views here recently, and I noticed that my paranormal story time, the first one, has almost 100 views now, depending upon when I'm making this. And I figured that I would finally make a part 2 to it, just because, you know, I said that I would in the video, so here's my part 2 to my haunted cousin's house story time. So to start this off, the main spirit that I will be talking about in this story time, as I told you, his name is William, and he came about around a couple months into Faith living at her house that she's living in right now. And Faith had been telling me that she had been feeling like there was something in her house that was a good spirit, like she would feel like reassuring pats and stuff on her head. And I told her, I was like, well, it's really like plausible that there would be a good spirit because this house seems very active, so there has to be like more than one here. I mean, come on. Me and her were like talking about the idea of there being a good spirit in the house and everything, and as time progressed, I started to notice things as well in the house that it seemed like, man, there could be like a good spirit in here or something. And so it was presenting itself to me while I would be there with Faith. And the way that it would do that was we would get scared or something, and Faith would call out his name, because she had eventually given him a name, and that name that she had given him is William. And like she was just like, it's okay now, it's okay now, I don't feel scared anymore. And like the stuff would stop. Like that's the crazy part, is that at first, whenever she had first said that, I was like, girl, you are crazy. Like you is one step away from being locked in a loony bin. But the stuff would stop, so it wasn't that she was crazy, it wasn't that, oh, this is all in her head or whatever. It's like, this is actually happening. And so I was like, that's really weird that like there's something that's protecting us from the evil spirits in this house. And so at first, I had gotten the impression that it was like, I don't know why, but I got this like really weird feeling that it was like feeding off of her almost, like, you know, like how like spirits can, it's easier for them to materialize themselves and like become real if like they feed off of someone in the house, and normally it's a negative energy that's feeding off of everyone. Well, what I had thought was going on was that this spirit was showing itself in various forms, and the forms that it would show itself in were like the scary form, like that weird grudge noise sounding thing, or like the Hat Man or something. And I will get into a complete separate video about like that whole thing, because I actually kind of want to start like a series to where I talk about like myths and stuff like that, or like paranormal stuff that like people go through all around the world and everything. So stay tuned for that, and leave a comment if you'd be interested in listening to all of that, because gosh, it would be so much fun to like have like a big section of my channel being dedicated to paranormal stuff, because I'm obsessed with the paranormal. So anyways though, I had thought that William was the spirit who was showing himself in various forms, like being evil in one setting. That way Faith would run right into his arms and call him out by the name that she had given him. And if you're familiar with anything paranormal, you know, as soon as you give something a name, you give it power instantly. A name does so much for a spirit, or like like a demon or something like that. So I was like, this is great, we're haunted by a demon and we're all gonna die. But it ended up, every time I would talk to her about it, and this caused my suspicion to go through the roof, was every time I would bring it up, she would get extremely defensive and like angry at me and be like, why would you even say something like that? Like, he's not mean, why would you even bring that up? And I was just like, like, girl, this is starting to make a lot of sense, because she's getting angry at me, which she like hardly ever gets angry at me unless we argue over some stupid bullshit that doesn't even make sense. which can happen from time to time. We do get angry at each other, because everybody gets angry at one another at some point. And, but it was very, like, every time I would bring it up, like, she wouldn't even listen to what I had to say. It was just automatic, like, no, I don't want to hear it. And I was just like, oh, great. So, if we both die, it's your fault. And, but as time progressed and everything, she ended up wanting to be able to, like, contact him and everything. And I was just like, sorry, I'm gonna get up. I feel like I'm really, like, low. But, as time, like, went on and everything, I had told her, I was like, you know, we should, like, try and contact him, because, like I was getting ready to say, she had told me, she was like, I kind of wish that I could talk to him, like, through some, like, way. And she was like, I'm completely, like, I don't want to use a Ouija board, because, like, you know, that's very physical, like, putting your hands on it. They can really use your energy and tap into you. And that could open up a gate for something completely different than what we were even initially trying to do. So, I told her, I was like, why don't we just, like, use a candle or something? And so she thought that was a brilliant idea, and I was just like, oh man, like, that was a pretty good idea, so props to me. And what we ended up doing was, so, as you all know, the hot spot in her house was her bedroom closet. So we decided that we were going to do 3 sessions. We were going to do one in her room, in her closet, one in her parents' bedroom, because that whole room just had so much negative energy in there. It was very, very negative, like, place in the house. And then thirdly, we were going to do one in the basement, because and after this, we ended up actually doing a lot in the basement, because we got so much activity from down in there. Like, down there, you could literally hear people, like, walking around. It was like, in my first one, when I told you about outside of the fort, all the walking around noises and stuff, all the time down there in the basement. Like, literally, never once did we go down there and, like, not get anything. So, essentially, we started to do these, and we ended up getting a hold of him and everything, and he told us a lot of stuff about himself. And for the longest time, we had thought, from everything, that he was African American. And I guess it could have been, like, another spirit in the house that we were, like, contacting as well, because, like I told you, there was a lot of activity in there, so it's possible that there'd be more than one spirit there. But I believe that we were talking to another spirit, through the candle that night. But it ended up progressing, and, like, as time went on, we did a bunch of those candle things, and, like, we did a lot of, like, trying to contact spirits and stuff throughout various ways in that house. And it got to the point where we found out, okay, he is real, he's in this house, he is a good spirit, he cares about us, and wants to protect us. But he answered one night, essentially along the lines of, I wish you weren't here, but I don't care that you're here. And I was just like, me and her were really off-put by that. And so we didn't do it for a really long time, actually. We just, like, kind of, like, stopped trying to get a hold of him or any spirit there. And so, like, time goes on, people change and everything, and it ends up, I want to say it was September when this happened. We had a huge breakthrough with him, because out of nowhere, Faith was just like, hey, you want to do one of those candle things? I haven't done one in a while. And I was like, yeah, that's really, like, why not? Like, you're right, we haven't done it in a while, and kind of be fun too. And, because Faith is really into paranormal stuff, just like I am, we're like, if we could have our own ghost hunting show and, like, everything, we would, because that'd be great. And, so we did it. And then stuff really, really got real. We were in the closet, and I told her, I was like, I do not feel good right now. And she was just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it was like, almost like I, not blacked out, but my mind went somewhere else. And I don't know how to explain it in any other way than that. But it was like, mentally, I was not in here anymore. And it was like, I kept getting these, like, images of this tall white man with dark hair. And And I'm not saying that I'm a medium or a psychic or anything. Like, I don't know why this happened. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. I've only ever, like, felt overwhelming emotion and, like, been able to see stuff and, like, hear stuff before. I've never full-on lived through somebody's memories. I don't know. But, I saw this tall white man with, like, dark brown hair. Probably, like, blackish or whatever. A little bit lighter than mine. And in one of the... I'm just gonna call these memories, okay? Because it seemed like they were his memories. In one of these memories, he was banging on that closet in Faith's room. And he was yelling at this little boy inside the closet. And you could, like, in these memories, I could tell that he was drunk and that he was getting ready to beat his kid. And that memory was just, it was literally just of him banging on that door. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Then the next memory that I got was of him beating on his wife. And then the way that the bottom of their house is set up, there is this hallway that leads back into their parents' room, and then on that hallway there is like a little broom closet or something, and then a glass cabinet with dolls, and then on this side there's a doorway that leads down to the basement, because there are two entrances to her basement. There's the one stairway that's in the hallway, and then one that's out in like this weird foyer area type thing. And so he's beating on his wife, and they get to the top of the stairs, and that door's open, and he pushes her down the stairs. And what really, like, messed me up about that memory in its own is because I had seen an apparition on the stairs 2 months into Faith living in that house. And to me, what it looked like was this, like, distorted, like, monstrosity of, like, a dark mass, like, climbing up the stairs, like, on the stairs, and I was petrified at that moment in time. But it was, as I was, like, going through this memory or this, like, vision or whatever, it's like, it clicked in my mind. I was like, that was the wife. That was the wife I was seeing on the stairs. Like, maybe it's, like, her that I hear down there. And I said to myself, I was like, I don't know if that's plausible or not, though, because of the third memory that I got, and I only got 3 in total. The third one was of him coming home to an empty house and a note from his wife and children and his child saying that he was never going to see them again and that he was out of their lives and that they were leaving. And so then from that point forward, I, like, came back around, and Faith was just like, what's the matter with you? Because I was literally, it was like, once I came to, all I was doing was crying, and like, I was already, like, telling her about everything, because in my mind, I had been gone for, like, 10 minutes, but really, in all actuality, it had been, like, 10 seconds, maybe, that I hadn't said anything to her. And it was just, oh my gosh, I'll never get over that experience. It was so, just, not really traumatizing, as much as just really, really interesting, because nothing like that has ever happened to me before. And after this, like, night, and whenever that happened, we haven't gotten back a hold of him ever since. And honestly, what I think is that maybe he wanted us there to, like, help him pass on with, like, I don't know. In the memories, I got this feeling of him, like, almost, like, showing me this because he was like, I never got to say sorry for this, or something to that effect. And I don't know, it was just really sad, and I'm upset that he's gone, and I feel awful for him, and, like, the life that he led and everything, but I don't know, it was just, I almost feel grateful to have been, like, the one to help him pass over, and, like, me and Faith have talked about this, and she's just like, I'm okay with this and everything, because I know that he's in a better place now, or we hope that he's in a better place now. So, yeah, that's the story on William. I summarized quite a bit, but I told you everything that was very pertinent to this story, so I feel a lot better about it than my first attempt to try and make this, just because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like everything was being forced. And everything was, I had like a paper that I was reading off of, that way my thoughts were more like coherent and everything, but I feel like this is a lot more like, spontaneity is so much better than like planning everything out. So this was my story on William, the protector ghost, in my cousin's house that is no longer there, and yeah. The last thing I have to say on this, because I probably won't talk about this again just because there's nothing else to say, the story's done, the book is closed, no more chapters, is rest in peace, William, and I hope you find your peace. Anyways, you guys, so that was the William story, finally, after a long-awaited time. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more scary stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. I love you, burbs.